Hey, what's good everybody? This is going to be a relatively advanced sound design course, so I would advise you to not try to follow along exactly and just try to take little hints and notes from this and kind of just like appreciate what's getting ready to happen, if that makes sense. But if you're well versed in modular synthesis and you're very well versed in routing, then by all means go for it. I won't be giving away this patch because I don't even know if it's going to turn out to be cool or not, but the one that I posted in the trailer is available right now for a pay what you want price, along with over 200 samples on my website. So there's a link in the description and go ahead and grab that. It's just a small thank you to all of the people that have been supporting me, and it's also a small contribution to all of you guys, or I guess all of us that are struggling right now through COVID and crazy things that are happening. So without getting into too many politics and all that stuff, let's go ahead and talk about how to create glitches via a generator. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's not one basic way, but this is going to kind of highlight the importance of knowing your tools in order to kind of start shaping things in the way that you want, if that makes sense. And basically, long story short, we're going to abuse the heck out of a lot of randomizers to basically modulate anything and everything that we can possibly think of. And I'm going to show you how to do that today to create these cool techie sounds that you can use in your productions, that you can use in resampling, stuff that I've used if you've listened to my most recent EP. I mean, go listen, come on. So let's go ahead and get started. This is our blank canvas, and really the only thing that we need to do is start adding things arbitrarily. So of course, as most people, I'd usually start with some kind of oscillator. For this, I'm going to probably use something in between a saw or a square, and I might change back and forth. But before I start really doing anything else, I'm really just going to take a randomizer kind of like this and start turning things. So a good place to start would be on the detune, and maybe also on the master pitch that will just kind of turn all the way up. So immediately whenever we play a note, this is automatically going to turn this into an arpeggiator because the sustain is at the max, meaning that the note's going to sustain but the pitch is going to change. So you can also do this in like serum and stuff as well. Though I'd argue right now it's not that exciting. So let's go ahead and keep adding some stuff to this and see if we can come up with some other cool things. I'm just going to go ahead and add another one here, and I'm going to set this to a second harmonic and turn this down. I'm going to go ahead and add another randomizer right here and barely turn this up to about 50%. So this will kind of come in at random times as well. And then let's go ahead and give that some jitter. And we're kind of on our merry way. From this point, I think that I want to do some kind of FM stuff. So I'm basically just going to search for some cool wavetables, maybe one or two. That looks all right. Let's go ahead and copy this one and then find a different version. There we go. And let's go ahead and grab, that looks kind of squarey, so it looks nice. Yeah, what we'll do is we will take this and duplicate it, and then we'll just kind of add some of this stuff and we'll set that there, and then we'll take this one and add some phase to it, kind of like that. And then what we will also do is grab the same one and come right here to 100%, so that way whenever this is randomizing, it's only going to go up to 23%. Otherwise, if we set a randomizer on the phase, it's going to kind of go haywire and break, which can sometimes be advantageous. But for now, we're already starting to get some cool stuff out of this. So I think what I'm going to do on this one though is I'm going to just reverse it, just because I don't like things looking like they're moving together. I don't know. It's just me personally. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one as well. So let's go here. Let's add that one and we'll go there. And you can tell that we're already getting some cool stuff, but wait, because there's so much more to do. I'm going to go ahead and add in a bandpass filter because I have been fond of doing these kinds of sounds lately. And we are going to grab another randomizer. I never said that this is going to be CPU efficient, by the way, so if you got a weak computer, then by all means, at any point in time, you can resample. And then what I'm going to do is grab a distortion, and now we've got this cutoff that should be moving. I'm Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a second group, and we're going to just grab something kind of simple, maybe like a sine, or let's do a triangle. And let's just go ahead and give it a little bit of oomph with a little bit of distortion. We need to set an output to this. Okay, now we're going to add a filter to this. Actually, we can just borrow the other one. That's fine. We'll just click and drag this like that. There we go. And we'll grab that right there, but instead of using a bandpass, we're going to use a notch, and we're going to pick a different randomizer. And this is kind of the gist of how this stuff works, guys, is really just taking this and throwing randomizations and LFOs onto anything and everything that you can possibly think of. And I'm not really worried about the pitch or anything that's happening right now, because again, we're kind of using this, or trying to use this, in a means of creating different effects. And the more stuff that we can add on to this and randomize, the wider variety of sounds that we're actually going to get out of it, if that makes sense. Sorry, before I move on, I think that I'm actually also going to do an FM on this as well. You can honestly just do this with a sine wave, nothing else major added to it. But again, it's kind of like the more ingredients that you add, the more stuff that you're going to get that sounds kind of cool. There we go. Let's go ahead and click that. And then I'm just going to grab any one of these. I don't really care which one. And I'm going to automate the frame right here. Let's go ahead and add some jitter to some of these. Cool. So now we have two different sources, and we're gonna send all of them through one specific channel, but now is kind of like where the magic and fun happens. So at this point, it's kind of just what I want to do, and I could honestly just like throw a bunch of effects on here without even looking twice and see what that does. But I guess for the sake of just having a place to start, rather, let's go ahead and start with just a little bit of distortion, and then we're going to take a filter. And let's go ahead and just grab any one of these and start pulling this down like this. One thing that I like to do is make the filter slope at its highest and start to open this, because this is going to turn more so into or low pass, high pass rather, as opposed to just a notch. And you can kind of tell that this is going to move a lot. All right, so next up we're going to add a means of disperser. And I'm probably going to pick up the pace here just a little bit because I'm not too worried about you guys following along. So I'll try to narrate as I go. This is going to kind of just move itself around. Now we have some kick sounding things, which sounds kind of cool. Let's go ahead and make another one. And we're going to go ahead and automate the mix on this. We're going to take this one and automate the delay. And then I'm going to keep the rate consistent, I think, mess with the spread just a bit. Okay, that's already working with that. So let's go ahead and grab this one. Just give it a little bit of spread like that. That's already sounding pretty sick. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and add a delay. And I'm going to back off of that one for a bit. Maybe back off of this one for a bit, and we're going to automate the mix. This one will automate the feedback, and then this one will automate this. And let's go ahead and duplicate that, and we're going to change this to a different time, and we're going to turn the duck up on that. Okay, before I blow your ears out, let's go ahead and add a limiter. Okay, then we'll duplicate this and add this filter in between and change placement of that. I'm gonna go ahead and add a 3-band EQ right here and just boost the low a bit. That's a lot, but I say a bit. Awesome. Okay, so let's have some fun. I am going to pull up a preset that I've made. I think that it's on my Azoth pack, I want to say, but it's just called the Your Worst Nightmare. And this is going to make stuff sound pretty cool. So yeah, it's some delays, some pitch shifters, some moving slice EQs, and then I think I'm actually going to add one more of these and change that to there and make this mix automate as well. And then I've got this little speed macro that I will automate outside of the box. So there we go. That sounds pretty cool. Let's go ahead and keep going though. The next thing that I wanted to do was let's add a saturator to this, and let's go ahead and add a stereo right here. Actually, I might end up adding another one. So you guys can kind of see how this goes though, right? I mean, now I imagine that you guys are just wondering what this is going to turn into, but it's kind of the gist of how all this goes. And as long as you know your tools of what you're doing, then it's really difficult to go wrong with this. Wait, that's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and add an ensemble now, and that's going to make this sound pretty cool. Because I am sending the ensemble through to the stereo, it's going to do some crazy wonky things. So I'm going to turn the spread down just a bit, and let's see what that ends up sounding like whenever I automate the mix on this. That sounds pretty cool. Okay, one of the most slept on things that you guys will run into is the comb filter. Comb filter is sick, and you guys really need to spend more time with it if you haven't, because this is going to make this sound super awesome. Check this out. Okay, I'm going to keep going on this, just maybe one or two more things, because obviously honestly, as long as your CPU can handle it, you can keep stacking effects on this, but that's kind of how all this goes. And again, once you kind of get used to doing this a few times and you know kind of what does what, then it's just a matter of combining all of these together and having some fun with it and seeing what you can come up with. Once you're used to kind of making stuff like this, then you can kind of process all of these things in such a way as you normally would for any other kind of placement that you would put these in. For me, I'm really accustomed to doing glitches and stuff, so it's not uncommon for me to process some of these things like a bass. But for you, it might be interesting to, see what happens if you turn one of these into a pad, or use, if something has a tone on this, then you take that and figure out what tone it is and take it and turn it into some kind of pluck or an instrument, right? So yes, cool. So yeah, at this point it really comes to as far as the speed and things of what you want. One thing that you can do is add some randomization to the rest of these. So I'm just going to go to the first one here and automate the speed of this on that section, maybe about halfway or so, and then maybe I'll do this with one more, maybe here. Oh no, I wanted to do that with this one and go down kind of that way. And voila, there you go. This is one of the ultimate things of making glitch. If you aren't interested in doing resampling, I think that every kind of mode or every kind of method definitely has its place and its purpose, but I kind of wanted to introduce you guys to these kinds of things because the amount of sounds that you can get from them and the amount of knowledge that you will acquire from learning what you can do by putting certain combinations together is pretty amazing. You can do this in Serum technically, but the reason why this works so well with Phaseplant is, for one, we have the ability to use multipass, but two, we have the ability to do some crazy routing, and then we can also use virtually quote-unquote unlimited effects. And it is a means of not seeming very controlled, but at the same time some of the stuff that's coming out of this is so inspiring that I don't think that I could make with purpose, if that makes sense. Now, this is going to be, I might have said this before, but this is probably going to be the first video of a series. I'm not sure if I want to put it out on YouTube. I'm not sure if I want to sell it as a package yet. I don't know. But as of now, the first preset that I put up is available for you guys, so you can kind of get into it and figure out what's going on. And then also there's all those free samples that I spent a good long while kind of throwing together. So that's pretty much it for you guys. I hope that this was really exciting and, you know, somewhat, I don't know, when I figured this out, it was pretty mind-blowing. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. See you later.